Hey, my name is Jenny Irwin, and I'm a Student Recruitment Officer with the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. My job today is to demystify the supplementary application process for UTSC. So I want to give the Columbia International College students more information about the University of Toronto Scarborough supplementary application form, as well as the interview process for a couple of select programs. So we just want to give the students the best information possible so that they can submit the strongest applications possible to us. So I'm pleased to represent the University of Toronto Scarborough campus because not only are we a part of the excellent institution, the University of Toronto, which indeed is a world-class university, we are also unique in that the Scarborough campus is the experiential learning, or the co-op campus, for the University of Toronto. So we have excellent programs that are going to give experiences and opportunities to students to help them with their futures and to get that great career after they graduate. With your CIC students, we are always getting great applications, students with wonderful grades, and what we'd like to see from the students are good communication skills, leadership ability. These are the types of things that we're assessing with our supplementary materials at the Scarborough campus. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? Doing all right? Good. It's almost dinner time, so don't fall asleep on me just quite yet, because we're going to have 4 presenters today. So 4 of us are going to be giving you presentations about specific information related to our divisions at the University of Toronto. After the presentation, we're going to have some Q&A, which will involve all 5 representatives, separating throughout the different room areas, and you can come up to us and ask specific questions about our specific divisions. So at the end of the presentation, don't be shy, come on up and talk to us. We want to make sure that all of your questions are answered about your applications to the University of Toronto. So let's start off talking about the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. We do have some supplementary information that is used in addition to your marks to determine whether or not you're going to get an offer of admission to UTSC. The supplementary information is primarily in the form of either a supplementary application form or an interview. So I want to give you details about what each of those supplementary materials looks like and some tips for being successful in terms of actually completing them. So first of all, what is supplementary information? What do I mean when I'm talking about this? Supplementary information is very simply additional information about you, about your interests, about your skills, about your goals for what you want to do with your program of study. We use this information in addition to your marks to determine whether or not the program that you've applied to is first of all going to be a good fit for you, and second of all, whether or not you are going to be competitive for admission to that program. It also gives you the opportunity to introduce yourself to us. For a lot of students who don't require supplementary information for their applications, all we get to see are your grades. That's the only thing that we see about you. But with supplementary information, you get to tell us about you. You get to impress us and give us some additional information to work with. So one way that we collect supplementary information is through our supplementary application form, or SAF for short. Very simply, it's a profile form that asks you to fill out short answer written questions. We do use your answers to these questions during our admissions assessment. So what you put for your supplementary application form answers will be very important. So, not everybody is going to be required to submit a supplementary application form. The supplementary application form is only required of applicants who've applied to the programs that you see right there. So if you've applied to anything in management at UTSC, so either non-co-op management, the regular BBA program, or co-op management in international business, you need to submit a supplementary application form. You also need to submit a SAF if you've applied to co-op international development studies or paramedicine. If you have applied to any other program at UTSC, you do not need to submit a supplementary application form. In fact, it's not even possible for you to do so. Your admissions decision will be based upon your marks alone for any other programs. Your supplementary application form is due if you applied before the OUAC deadline, which was January 13th, by January 23rd. That is your deadline to submit your supplementary application form to be considered for early admission in our February round. So if you applied before January 13th, your deadline is January 23rd. If you did not apply by January 13th, that's okay. Your deadline to submit your SAF will be 3 weeks from the date that you receive your acknowledgement email from U of T. That acknowledgement email is the email that you'll get after you submit your OUAC application, basically saying, hey, thanks for your application, we received it, here are your next steps. So that's a very important email, watch for that in your inboxes. If you are required to submit a supplementary application and you don't submit it by the deadlines, we may not be able to consider you for your program of choice. We will consider you for an alternate program choice, so a different program from what you applied to. So where do you find the supplementary application? So you know you need it. How do you actually access it? So that acknowledgement email that you receive from U of T is very, very important. That contains information about accessing the Join U of T portal. The Join U of T portal is your window into your application status. You can see where your application is in terms of the processing. You can see if you have any documents that you may need to submit, such as additional transcripts or English facility results. You can also access your supplementary application form through the Join U of T portal. So once you've logged into the portal using the information provided to you in your U of T acknowledgement email, that's what it looks like. You'll be able to see the programs that you've applied to. Do you see that light blue button in the top right corner there that says check status? That's what you click on to enter application status check. And that's where you get to really see what is required still for your application to U of T. And that's also where you're going to access the supplementary application form. So at the bottom there, this is the view that you'll see in status check, is a section for required documents. The SAF link is in that section there. So click on that and that will take you directly to the SAF landing page. This gives you all of the instructions that you need for successfully completing your supplementary application form. Once you have read that very carefully, you'll go to the links in the top left-hand corner there to actually begin filling out the SAF. Each of those links represents a section of the supplementary application form. You can fill them out in any order you want, and you also don't have to complete the entire supplementary application form at the same time. So if you need to take a break or if you run out of time, you can actually log out of the SAF and come back to it later. But be very careful. If you want to leave the SAF and you haven't completed the whole thing yet, be sure to save your work. At the bottom of every section, the bottom of every page of the SAF, there is a submit button. You need to hit that button. If you log out and you have not hit that button, you will lose all of your work. So don't forget to save and submit before you move on. So I just want to give you a few snapshots as to what it looks like. SAFs for the different programs are going to look a little bit different in terms of the questions, because for each of these specific programs, we want information from you that is going to show that you're a good fit for the program that you applied to. And all of the programs are a little bit different. Management is going to be different from international development studies. The questions that you can see on the screen there are all for the management SAF. So the questions for different supplementary application forms will be a little bit different. So to start off, we have some questions about any academic awards you may have received. We also want to get a picture as to what you think your final grades are going to look like for grade 12. We also have a section for your program interests. This is where you can tell us about your goals, what you like to study. It gives us an idea as to how well you also understand the program that you're applying to. So this section is very important, so take great care when you're filling it out. We also have a section for extracurricular activities. We have sections for work experience as well. We want to know what you do in your spare time. We want to know if you have any experiences that relate to the program that you're applying to. We want to see that you have leadership experience. We want to see that you communicate well. There are lots of different factors that we're looking at in your staff responses. So I know it's a little bit blurry, but in that slide there, I've listed some answers that are deemed satisfactory answers. So these are answers that are getting at the information that we're looking for. Basically, what we want to see are very strong communication skills. We want to see that you are giving us your best work. We'd like to see good grammar, good spelling. So be sure to have someone, maybe your friend, proofread your supplementary application form before you submit it. And then also take great care. Think very carefully about your answers before you submit it. Here are some answers and representative of what we're not looking for. So if you can read them, notice that there are misspellings. Really short answers. They're not listed in complete sentences. This is an example of a poor job. We don't want to see this. Again, we want your best work. So take a lot of time, think very carefully about what you're doing. So that's the supplementary application form. So again, most of you are not going to be required to submit it, but if you do, think about what I've talked about in regard to those tips and how to find the staff. We also have some additional supplementary information that we need from very particular candidates. There are 2 programs at UTSC that have an interview process as well. So Co-op Management and International Business, or MIB, and also Co-op International Development Studies, both require not only a supplementary application form, but also that candidates come in for an interview. We select candidates for an interview based upon, number 1, your grades, and also number 2, your responses on your supplementary application form. So the students with the best grades, the best answers, are going to be invited for a 3rd round, which is the interview round. We will email you with an invitation for your interview if you're selected, and that email will contain very detailed instructions about the interview process, what you can expect, and also some tips for successfully interviewing as well. So we're going to give you all of this information up front so that you can be well prepared. We want you to come to UTSC to have your interview, but if that's going to be impossible, if you can't travel to Scarborough to do this, we can arrange for you to have a Skype interview as well. So don't worry about that too much. So the interview for Management and International Business typically lasts for about 25 minutes, and there will be a panel of 2 interviewers there who are assessing you and asking you questions. It is a behavioral style interview, which means that they're going to ask you about situations you've been in the past and how you handled them. They're going to ask you questions that are going to assess your problem-solving ability. How motivated are you to study international business? And how adaptable are you? What they really want to see is, are you going to be successful in a very demanding, rigorous program in which there is mandatory international content? For MIB, you're going to be working and studying in a foreign country. So we need to be sure that you're going to be adaptable enough to be successful. If you're invited for an interview, your offer of admission will typically come in either March or May. If we're unable to offer you admission to the MIB program, we will consider you automatically for an alternate offer to either co-op management or non-co-op management at UTSC. For Co-op International Development Studies, the interview process is very similar. It will last about 25 minutes, and you will have a panel of interviewers, which include faculty members and also some senior level Co-op International Development Studies students. So you get students and faculty. Questions will focus on your extracurricular activities and also your interests in international development studies. How well do you understand this field? They're also going to ask you about academic experience that you have in this field as well. So like with MIB, offers of admission will happen in March or May. And if we are unable to offer you admission to Co-op International Development Studies, we will automatically consider you for an alternate offer of admission to Social Sciences, where we also have the non-co-op version of international development. So you can still do international development at UTSC. If you run into any technical problems with the SAF, for example, there are some ways to get some help. So if you can't see a link to the SAF in application status check, first think, well, did I apply to a program that requires it? If you did and you still can't see it, contact us. If you're having technical problems with the Join U of T portal, contact us. admissions@utsc.utoronto.ca will get you all of the help that you need for these issues. And if you have general questions, or if you just have some personal questions about your application or about the interview process for any of those programs, feel free to contact me. That's my email address at the bottom. I also have some business cards, so if you come up and talk to me at the end of the presentation, I'd be happy to give you that information as well. So thank you guys, that's all I have for you about the supplementary application at UTSC.